Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. This is actually the start of 3 videos because there's 3 things I'm going to do at the same time to the bike. I will actually split it up into 3 for reasons which will hopefully become apparent, but as this is probably going to be the longest of the 3, I'll do all the explanation here, then I can do much shorter intros for the others. I'll even put them out as Wednesday short videos if that makes sense. So what these are is really changes to a lot of things on the front of the bike. Now, if you'd seen my previous videos, I've got the Outback Motortech crash bars on the bike. They seem to do a pretty good job. They are quite heavy, and when I installed them, I think they were close to 5 kilos, and it's weight quite high up. And for the most part, I've been trying to make my bike lighter, not heavier. Nevertheless, they do seem to do the job. Outback Motortech have a lot of crash videos where they've hurled one of these around. To be honest, most of my falls seem to be low speed. I just get something wrong when I come up against a big rock and I drop the bike sideways. There wasn't really a lot else that protected the upper parts of the bodywork, so I'd left them on. Another thing I'd put on was I'd replaced my Kodama Composites Kevlar carbon fibre bash guard with one from Flatland Racing just to try it. Again, seems to have done a perfectly good job, was slightly heavier, did have a bigger, flatter platform, so it was better on lift, but nevertheless it made the bike heavier. And the third thing that happened was someone asked me the question of how easy is it to get the spark plug out of a CRF300 Rally. I guess on the L it's a little bit more accessible, but on the Rally I've never done it myself. As far as I'm aware, you just unclip part of the radiator, well, unbolt the radiator, and it should be just behind there. Now, all of those things together mean a few things. So firstly, if I ever do get stuck in a water crossing and I have to get the spark plug out, it's not easy to get the upper panels off the bike simply because I've got the crash bars there. And honestly, I don't fancy taking the crash bars off the bike so that I can get the panel off, so that I can get to the spark plug if I ever need to. That's one thing. Another is there is now an alternative for the side panels. So for those of you who've seen my Kodama Composites video for the bash guard, they have now come up with these. And they're beautifully made and they exactly fit the lower panels. And it is a sandwich of glass mat together with Kevlar, together with carbon fibre. So they're very tough, they're very strong, they're very stiff, and they actually just glue onto the side panel. So on the impact points, these are designed to basically take that impact, to bounce off and just to protect that lower part of the fairing. I know another option is just to cut the bodywork. I know a lot of people have done that. I think it looks pretty good. I'm not quite at that point yet because I thought I'd try these first. If these don't work out and I still manage to mess up my bodywork, then yeah, I guess I'll take the Dremel to it and cut it off. However, for now, I'm going to remove the Outback Motortech crash bars and I'm going to put these on. I mean, these weigh next to nothing. I am going to weigh them just to show you. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to fit this, which is a Flatland Racing radiator guard. I did buy this when I was over in the US in January, but then because of the upper crash bars, I never got to fit it. However, if I'm taking the crash bars off, that is still an exposed bit which is not protected by these. These will protect the bodywork, but they don't come up far enough to cover the radiator. These seem to be pretty good, they're very sturdy, and I'm going to fit that to the bike. As part of these 3 videos, I'm going to take off the Outback Motortech bars, I'm going to take off the Flatland Racing bash guard, I'm going to refit my Kodama Composites bash guard, I'm going to fit the Kodama Composites side panels, I'm going to fit the radiator guard, and then I'm also going to do a quick video about how to get to the spark plug, assuming I can just get to the spark plug. All of these are going to kind of happen together because I need to get the bodywork off to do it, and yeah, hopefully all that makes sense. That was a really long intro. I will only put this on the side panel install video. I'll do a really short intro for the other ones, I promise. So hopefully that will make sense and I'll get to work. So this is a bit that I know some people are going to love, some people are going to hate it, but hey, I'm going to do it anyway. By all means, skip past it if it's not your thing. So this is just to give you a really close look at these carbon fibre guards. Now, I'm sure someone will point out that carbon fibre is quite a brittle material, and you're absolutely right, 100%. So even though they look carbon fibre on the outside, and that's what you can see through the clear coat, it's actually a sandwich that's made from part glass mats to give it the shape, then with a layer of Kevlar to give it strength and toughness so it doesn't crack, and then the carbon fibre just to give it that sort of stiffness and firmness. And honestly, I can barely move that when I try and move it with my hands. So once this is bonded to the existing panels, it's basically this which is going to take the hit when something hits the ground, hopefully protecting what's behind. I think there will still be some flex in it because there just has to be for the shock absorption, but hopefully it will stop those expensive side panels from breaking. There's one for each side. They are fitted specifically to the bike, and they weigh next to nothing, but I will weigh them anyway. So here we go. So that's one on. One of them is 157 grams. When I add the second one on, we have 312 grams. So bearing in mind that the Outback Motortech crash bars were, I think, the best part of 5 kilos, yeah, that is a significant weight saving. It doesn't give protection in quite the same way, but I think between these and the Flatland Racing radiator guard, I think my bike will be suitably protected and significantly lighter. I'll go and fit them to the bike. First thing I'm going to do is I need to get the old crash bars off, which also means I need to take off this front belly pan and also the Flatland Racing bash guard. So I've done videos on how to fit these, and I think most of it's fairly straightforward. So I'm not going to talk through any of this. I'm just going to remove it all quick as I can and show you it in fast. So that's all of this clear. I'll give that a clean up before I put pieces back on. The next thing I'm going to do is take off the Outback Motortech bars. This is also going to take a while because it's basically these two. There's this plate here, there's a plate in here, there's the crossbar here, then there's all the external bars. There's quite a lot of metal work to come off. Again, I'm not going to talk through any of this. I've done it before in a video. If you want to see how it goes on, it's basically the reverse of that to take it off, and it's just a lot of undoing. So I'll go and do that now. So I've got the right hand side panel off the bike. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to glue the Kodama Composites protector to this side panel. So it's basically just like this, and it fits on pretty much perfectly just over the bodywork like that. Now, as you can see, I've already cleaned it up a bit. I've taken off my decals. Apologies to Peak Motor. I will add Earth Cycles to that as soon as I've got this back on, and my Nitron sticker has also gone. I think the trick with this is just to make sure you get enough of this bonding agent on. So this is neutral cure silicone, which is apparently much less damaging to paintwork, and it does have about a 12.5% movement in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a wipe down with white spirit just to get rid of any of the cleaning residue that's off there. Also taking care to do this top edge here because that is going to fit inside there. I'm then going to clean up this surface as well because it's got a bit of the cleaning stuff just from where I fitted it. Once that's in, just from looking at this, I can see kind of the places I need to make sure I cover. So first of all, it's along this edge and in there because that's going to slot over that edge there. Need to make sure that's on. Probably then around the outside, also then along the inside of that edge where it curves over there. Same along here, then probably a bead along there, and then probably just a few across the middle. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to clamp it on and leave it. So this stuff needs at least 3 hours to cure, and honestly, I don't have that many clamps. So my intention is to do one side, leave it for 3 hours, come back to it, and then do the other side. So hopefully that makes sense. It's probably not that exciting to watch, so I will do this quickly in the video. Got one more wipe with a dry towel. Just going to tilt that up for a moment, just try and get a bit more in there. So on that top edge, if you can see that on the camera. So hopefully that will do what's needed. And you can see that there. So the trick now, I think, is to be able to fit this and clamp it. So I suppose one reason to do this off the bike is that it is just easier to get clamps around it when it's off. Okay, so I think that is me done just for now. So I'm going to leave that on for 3 hours. So that will be later on today. And then once that's done, I'm going to take all these clamps off. I'm going to fit this to the bike. I'm hoping that the way I've clamped it is that it's not going to distort it too much in any one particular direction, just because I've got lots of clamps holding it in lots of different ways. And then, yeah, assuming all is well, I will then do the other side. Here we are. It's been a few hours. It's now into the evening. The silicone said it needed 3 hours to go off. It's had about 6. So I'm just going to take all of these clips off. I think some of this is going to need a bit of tidying up, but what I am going to do is I'm going to fit it to the bike first and make sure that the shape is still okay. Now I've hoped that because, well, even with all these clamps on, that it hasn't actually bent the panel out of shape and that it will still go on. Now there should still be a bit of flex in here, just because of how the silicone glues it. It's quite a sort of soft glue with, I think, 12% movement. But it should basically make this side panel a lot stronger. So we shall see. There we go, it's nearly everything off. Just on that. There we go. You can never have too many clamps. Right then, so I don't know if you can see that on there, but that is actually fitted. I need to tidy up that edge. I think I can probably just cut some of that off. But it feels just rock solid now, that panel, compared to how, you know, this sort of used to be, you know, loose like that. There's literally no movement there at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and see if I can fit that back to the bike. Hopefully I can. Hopefully everything fits together as before. Before I do that, I'm going to fit the Kodama Composites bash guard, because that has the stock plate that those need to fit into. So I'm thinking if I put that on, then I can put that, you know, insert that into it and then fit everything on, and hopefully the shape will be just right. But yeah, that feels really solid. Even, you know, even if you can see on there, these bits, there's just that bit of movement that you can get with your fingers, whereas that is just completely solid. I do need to clean it up though. So let's see. So I'm going to basically stick the bottom end into there and then see if the rest of it all just comes together. It should do, of course, but let's see. Okay, so that all looks all right. That's basically how it goes. And that panel is still as it should be. Yeah, so I'm just going to put all the bolts in and we'll take it from there. Okay, so that is now on, and I think that actually looks pretty good. You know, there's a bit of a gap between where the bash guard ends and the side protection begins, and I think it does need to be cleaned up a bit where I've got a bit of the silicone that's gone onto the bash guard, but it looks like that will come off easily enough. I think what I might do as well is I might just put a bead of silicone up that edge just to stop anything from getting in. But yeah, that does, I mean, it's certainly not going to, well, it gives it a lot more protection than it had. And looking at just how far that extends, I think it would protect up there as well. Now, what I'm not sure of is like for this really high bit, but then with the handlebars, maybe that's not such a problem. Right then, I'm going to go and do the other side. And then for this, it's exactly the same. I've got a few more scratches on here, but I'm sure that will be fine. I'm not going to talk through this again because I've done it for the other one. So what I'm going to do is give this a quick clean up, quick degrease, silicone on, and get it clamped. And then I think I'm done for today. And then I'll come back in the morning and fit it back to the bike. Before I do that, I'm actually going to take these stickers off. Apologies, Nitron. I've had the stickers on the bike for a while. I did buy the shock, so you know it has been some free advertising. So that's going to go. Half of my Peak Motorcycles is going to go, but then I do have one more of these decals, so I can stick that back over the top. So here we go with the next one. So there we go. I think that will do. So that is pretty well clamped down onto that piece. So I'm going to leave that overnight, and then in the morning I'll come back and fit that to the bike as well. So here I am, one day on. This is now set properly, so I'm just going to take all the clamps off. So yeah, hopefully you can see that on there, that's just really well fixed now. The whole panel there just seems to be very stiff, especially when I try and bend sort of this bit up that way, which I guess is what an impact would do if it hit the side there. So yeah, need to tidy that up, especially around the edges, and then stick another Peak Motorcycle sticker over the top. But yeah, I think that's all good on here for now, so I'm going to fit this back to the bike. So before I put these push pins back in, these are the two that just fitted around the top of the expansion tank there. So I'm just going to push those pins back out like that, which means that I should just be able to just pop it straight back into the hole, push that down, and it should lock. So the very last thing that I need to do before I'm done is to just fit the front piece back again so you can see how it all fits together. So I'll put this back on, do all of that up, and then I'll show you how it all looks when it's there, and then I think I'm done for this video. There we go, that's all back together. So that's now on the bike, so I'll just give you a quick look all the way around so you can see exactly how that is, how it fits with the bash guard under there. So there is a bit of a gap just in here. I know I need to tidy up the edge of that silicone, but I think this video is already long enough and you don't need to see me putting a silicone bead around that panel and then just reapplying the stickers. That's exactly as you would have seen before with how the bash guard fits snug with the foam up against the front protector. And around the other side of the front wheel, just on this side, and then you can see again that side panel, the side protector on there. So one thing really just to point out, I suppose, is that this does just feel so much more rigid now. Now that's on. I mean, if you look at how any of the plastic is around that there is a bit of give, and that's how these side panels were as well. But there really is nothing there. So I think that does spread the load out quite nicely across that side panel. It's not to say it still couldn't crack underneath if you had a big enough hit, but I just think it's a much more elegant solution than having big crash bars that add a load of weight, especially the higher up crash bars. I like to think that corner is probably the strongest bit, just because it's where all the different planes, there's kind of 5 different surfaces that meet there. So I think that's probably the sticky outest bit on it, so certainly that would clear. You might still, hit something up here, but to be honest, with where the handlebars are, I think it'll probably lie between here and the handlebars up there. So that's it. That's my video on how to fit the Kodama Composites side protection to the Honda CRF300 Rally. I think these are the first ones that have been available for the CRF300 Rally, but they have been making them for the 250 Rally for some time and seem to get rave reviews from those. So you never really find out how good the crash protection is until you actually need it, but just the fact that it's saved probably 5 kilos of weight on my bike makes a big difference. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out and trying them. There are a few things I do still need to tidy up on them, and one of which is I was going to put just a bead of silicone all the way around the outside to stop any dust getting in there. The other was to put my stickers back on so it says Peak Motorcycles instead of half of that. Anyway, I hope that's been interesting and useful. If it has, maybe I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.